I'm consciously using that expression. The voter has been bullshitted for too long in the name of schemes. The voter in this country does not trust the Congress schemes. Forget it. Anything that happened in the past, very little got to her. Very little. This time, LPG, the house, even if government didn't build a house for you, you were building a house, they gave you 1.5 lakhs. One after the other. And I was looking for evidence to the contrary. And many of the people we traveled with, we're a group, we were hoping to see evidence for the contrary, but we were not finding it. We were finding gas cylinders. We would even peek inside the houses and find a gas cylinder. So you build a house, government gave you 1.5 lakh. You build a toilet, government gave you 15,000. Government didn't come and build the toilet for you. What did the government do? They used direct benefit transfer. They used something that in this city and in this 1 square kilometer periphery, everybody gets very angry about. They used the jam trinity, that is Jan Dhan account, Aadhaar, and Mudra loans. Initially, I thought Mudra loans were all rubbish, that this was all a fake. But when I have videos, Mr. Shobha Lal sitting 50 kilometers from Azamgarh, Dalit saying that I got 50,000 rupees Mudra loan, made this chai shop, I repay 1,300 rupees every month. If I don't repay on time, bank manager sends somebody to me. And then came back and checked the larger data. 4.81 crore people have got Mudra loans and 2.1 lakh crores have been dispersed. Now, I have to say this very honestly, that we journalists and the commentariat chose not to see it. And even when we see it, we compulsively try to deny it. Oh, they've got gas cylinders, but they can't afford the next cylinder. But that is their problem. The fact is they've got one. Then, oh, but the next one is full price. It's a lie. The next one is not full price. Next one, you pay the full price to get your subsidy amount back in your bank account. But once you have the connection, you are empowered. Once you have the toilet, oh, but water is not there. Water will come. The fact is that these people had never seen the delivery of anything. And even if they got any delivery, they had not seen the delivery of anything without having to pay bribes for it, including in most cases, Narega wages. So this is a big change. It's a big governance exercise. You may like it, you may not like it. It is Congress Party's lack of intellect, lack of commitment, and arrogance. Every time Rahul spoke out saying, Chaukidar chor hai, a lot of people in those crowds, and you could talk to them, and I have videos also, went back saying, Are ye आधा अंग्रेज आदमी है, पता नहीं कहाँ से आया, जो शरीफ आदमी, हमारा देसी आदमी काम कर रहा है, जो अपने आप बन के आया, उसको चोर बोल रहा है.
Yes, they do hope. And I think that's great that Modi has given us some hope. Because I tell you, as an Indian that grew up in Britain, how did people used to look at me when I grew up in Britain? Not the way British people look at Indians now. I'm not part of the rich Indian elite, and I have no conflict of interest here. I'm not going for political positions either in India or in UK. So when I speak from a real-life experience of being both an Indian and being in Britain. And I'll tell you what my experience has been. The other difference is I was born when, Chaitanya, you were probably still in nappies, unfortunately. I was around in India. I grew up in a place called Hyderabad, which some of you may know. Hindu-Muslim riots happened well before Modi, okay? And they will happen after Modi if we do not have confidence in the Indians of that beautiful message that you said, unity in diversity. And people will have come here with their views in mind already. Not because of what they have experienced or anything like that, but because the BBC has peddled that Hindu-Muslim riots happened. Some person died and suddenly 46 people that were Muslims were killed. Where was the BBC when 56 of my Sikh brothers were killed and Rajiv Gandhi and Indira Gandhi did nothing? They stopped the police from going in. Why were they not accused of being divisive amongst Hindu, Muslims and Sikhs? It is unfortunately a realism that there is division, and this is something we need to tackle with real truth, not with rhetoric. And please don't divide us by just making people out to be on one side or the other, because we're not. I hope for unity as much as every one of us, hopefully, in this room hopes for. But I also want somebody that can give us hope. And let's have a look at some of these things, the statistics and everything else you've talked about. What is wrong with giving people a vision? He has come up with 6 campaigns, none of which are to do with religion, none of which are to do with division. Digital India. Whether it's worked or not, I live in a country currently where young people do not have hope. He gave us hope in India. He gave us hope that I can put you at the table with everyone else, and digital, no thanks. He gave us hope, and and he's given us a forward-looking message. Make in India, smart cities, Startup India, Swachh Bharat. And let me talk again. I'm one of the few on this panel here that come from a generation, and that is a woman. I can tell you, when I was growing up in India, and when we used to go to India, I wasn't, as I said, part of the rich elite or anything. We were part of the poor that grew up. My parents were fortunate enough to be professionals and therefore got out of that poverty. But a lot of my family is still there in India, and I can tell you the difference now for them. They have toilets to go to. Across India. It may seem like a small thing here, but if you grew up in India, you will know what it meant. We used to have to travel nearly a mile away, and as a woman it was degrading. He has given us hope that that is not going to be there for women anymore. Now, if you want to deplore that, go ahead, because he hasn't built enough. What were you doing for the last 40 years when you were around before? Not one toilet. And here's the greatness of the current government. Modi said, it is not me that did it. I applaud every government that came before me, every volunteer that came before me. It is a right of every Indian to have sanitation. I'm just doing my duty.